good evening. Welcome to the Premier League show. It's me, Chris Back. It's him, Kev O'Sullivan, and it's our fellow Wrexham fan. It's Luke. Luke, welcome to see you back. Haven't seen you for ages. How's Wrexham getting on? Are they winning still?
I think they're winning today in the FA Papa John's Trophy.
I don't care about that. I want to know what
That's it. That's all I know. They won 1-0 on the weekend. James McLean plays for Wrexham. Crazy.
He does. He's just retired, hasn't he, from international
football? Yeah.
Do you know what? How old is James McLean? He feels he's been around forever.
34.
Is he?
Yeah. Wrexham are 7th, man, in League 2. Shut up.
Yeah.
Not
they can score, but they can't keep clean sheets.
But now
Notts County's top.
So, doing all right. Then the playoffs. It's all looking good. They look great with Disney Plus documentary. Plug there.
I'm trying to see if I'm on it. No, my boss is a photographer at Wrexham, so like my team manager is a photographer.
There you go. Anyway, enough about Wrexham because no one cares.
Yeah.
Yeah. How are we?
Good. Not too bad.
Enjoy the weekend?
It was one of those, wasn't it? It was like I did, then I didn't, then I did, and then I didn't. It was like
I felt the exact same after watching Liverpool. I was like, that's what I felt.
I'm all right with a draw. Yeah. When you're ahead, you feel it's a bit about, probably should have held on for a win. But you know what? A draw Brighton, I'm all right with. I'm generally all right with where we are in the league. Of course. And then I went the women's game, and the women just show you how to do it properly. You know, top of the league, 2 wins out of 2, not conceded the goal. Pities. That
was really good. That was really good.
Listen, I'm enjoying it while it lasts. I'm enjoying it while it lasts. Well, yeah, I mean, the first 2 games of the season last year, when we played Arsenal and Villa last year, we didn't win either. So, we're already 6 points up on where we were last year. So
beat Chelsea last season, didn't you? Liverpool beat Chelsea last season.
We did opening game of the season. Yeah, so it's all good, So from my point of view, the weekend wasn't great, but then it got better. So my day sort of got better as it went on. I've got the derby on Sunday.
Yeah,
so that should be fun.
It was a mad weekend, wasn't it? Really, when you look back at the fixtures and the games and what happened in the games.
Oh, the Chelsea women's one was mad. Wasn't it? City
the City one. Yeah,
City went down to 9 players. They had 2 women sent off. One was for time wasted, and one of the girls got booked for saying to the referee, "That's a goal kick." You literally no swearing. That's a goal kick, and she went yellow card, gob it off. I was like, what gets shouted at football games? Shouting "that's a goal kick" doesn't feel like the most dramatic of things to get a booking for.
Didn't in the Man City game? Didn't they end up with 8 players on the pitch in the end because one went off injured?
One went off injured, and Chelsea equalised. It went down to 8.
It went down to 8 in the end.
But listen, you think Aditown's bad in men's football? The women's WSL at the moment, I think so far Liverpool have played 22 minutes of added time in 2 games. It was 10 minutes last game of the week, and the week before it was 12. Now, there is some time wasting, but it's like mentally extreme. Scale. 10 minutes of time. Honestly, God. Anyway, let's talk about.
We're going to chat about football in a sec. You go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, only because I saw it today, and I'll be honest, it struck a chord with me. Because today's World Mental Health Day, and I think if you've not seen it, seek it out. Is Norwich City have done a very short 2-minute video about World Mental Health Day, and it's really moving. It really makes you think. It's basically just 2 blokes sat watching the match, as they do. One's really quiet, really introverted. The other one's like dead loud, jumping up and down, And it's to flip your head, which is you were shooting the very quiet bloke. It tends to be somebody who's got a mental health condition, and it isn't. It's the louder bloke. Because what happens is at the very end of the video, he's not there, just his scarf. We know what that implies, but it's just to say, it's not always the obvious people you think. So it's just a way of saying, look at on your mates, and don't always looking on the quiet ones. Sometimes you have to look at what you consider the loud, strong ones. It does sort of strike a chord. It struck a chord with me. Did have my little head ticking a little bit. So, but I feel like those sort of things should be highlighted because mental health is a big thing today, and it's still seen as a taboo subject, especially amongst blokes. Blokes aren't very good at talking about this sort of stuff. Look, Kev, you, me, are similar vintage. It's just 10 years ago, it just wasn't a thing he talked about, was it? But it should have.
What I took away from it, look, I'm 50 years of age, and I know people in my immediate circle of friends that have taken their life through suicide. And it's one of those things that I suppose the takeaway for me from the video was it costs nothing in this day and age to send that text that you were going to send, to send a voice note to someone who you were thinking about going to do it, but you never got around to it, kind of thing. And we all do it. We're all guilty of it. And it's like a 20-second voice note saying, how are you doing? What are you up to? Hope everything's all right. Fancy meeting up on the weekend for a pint. It's something that it came to my attention. Joe Wayman shared it, and all Joe said on his tweet was he did not expect it to go the way it went. And I clicked into it, I watched it, and I was sat in work, and I just sat in the stool for about 10 minutes after. Like, wow, what a powerful message. And kudos to Norwich City for doing that. It was a fantastic thought process to come up with that idea, and a great promotion of the day for World Mental Health Day. Luke, you're a young lad. How did it come across to yourself?
Well, it's the first time that I've seen it, and I've watched it, and I got a little bit teary watching that, because I think not a lot of people my age like to talk about it. I think, especially now, people see it as like some sort of weakness opening up about it. It was difficult. I sort of had a feeling that it may have been not the quiet one, but the louder one. It was.
But you know what? Isn't that the whole point of the video, that it makes you stop and think?
Yeah.
And it's okay not to be okay. And it's okay to tell someone, how are you doing? Do you know what? Not the best day.
Yeah. And it's also just sometimes, it's also people are very good at putting a mask on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Some people are brilliant at putting the happy face on and making everyone, this person's always loud. They're always joking. They're always boisterous. Happy smile and acting the goat sometimes, it can hide a multitude of sins. So, we just thought, it just felt today of all days, it felt poignant. And to be fair, I think things like that should be highlighted, partly because they're good, but also I think Norwich didn't, deserve the pat on the back for it, because actually you can see it struck a lot of chord. It's struck the chord it should do, and allows people, to look for help if they want help. So the option's there. Yeah. So let's go back.
There's a message actually up there.
Okay.
LFC.
I was going to break this later. Should we break it now?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is our last ever video as LFC Daytrippers. Our new channel will launch in the next few days. Same place, same faces, just a new name.
And should we get some new teeth, Kev? Fit in?
No.
We'll upgrade ourselves as well.
Yeah. No, this is it, man. This is the last ever Daytrippers show.
I feel honoured.
That's nuts. That's nuts. And it's us three yokes. Three probably newest people on it. Bar Matt,
I think.
Three newest people on the show, on the channel, and we get to do the last show. So let's get into it. We'll chat about football. Chris, you're driving.
I'm driving. Let's talk about the weekend then. So I'll sort of do a bit of synopsis, and then I'll let you two sort of go hammer and tongue on each other. So Spurs won the early kickoff, went down to 10 men. I'll be honest, if Norwich could shoot. If Leeds could shoot, Spurs might have had a bit more difficulty, because I'll be honest, I don't think Spurs play very well, but listen, job done. That's all they need to do. Brentford blew their big chance to get their first win at Old Trafford since the 30s. But listen, fair play to Scott McTominay. He came on and did what they needed him to do. Sheffield United still struggling, no wins, an absolute horror injury.
Oh, I felt sick seeing that.
That is don't seek it out. It's one of those absolute horror injuries. That's like worse than like Jibril Cisse sort of thing. It's a horrible injury. You hope Basham recovers from it, but nasty injury, and so innocuous, because it was literally trying to do a cross. It wasn't even like a bad tackle. It was, his ankle went over as he went to do a cross it, but you just don't expect.
You might see an injury like that every 2 or 3 years.
Mm.
Every 2 or 3, maybe even 4 years. You might see a horror like that. Like you said, you just hope to God that he gets back on the pitch first and foremost, because he's been a stalwart of the Football League and the Premier League when he's been in it. He's one of these guys that he's a decent player.
He's a decent player.
Tries hard. He's going to give you 10 out of 10 for effort every time he puts a shirt on, and he's always a willing runner. He's all heart, and you hate. I don't care who you support or who any club. You hate seeing a player get an injury like that. But to be honest, I watched the Spurs Luton game because of mainly because I like Bennett, the Luton winger, and I thought he had a good game. He got wide, he got past fullback, got crosses in, and like you said, they couldn't finish the dinner. Spurs down to 10 men, got over the line.
By the way, if you're Ange, you are volleying Basuma.
I bet he's been volleyed around that change room.
Honest to God, that when you're on a yellow card, I mean, listen, we all know I wanted to strangle Jota after his second yellow because I thought, whether you agree with the first yellow or not, it's a stupid tackle to throw in, but it's the worst dive I've ever seen in my life. To be fair to the ref, not many of them actually call that normally, give the second yellow for the dive, so at least he did it. But yeah.
He did it, yeah, no, he spotted it as well, because
fair play.
I honestly thought it was a free kick. Watching it, I thought it was a free kick. I thought he caught him.
And when you see the replay, you're like, oh no.
Oh my God. And it
was terrible.
I thought it was a second yellow. It really was a dive, and it was a bad one at that.
Yeah.
But I mean, Luke, I was going to ask Luke actually. One sec. Do you think Ange has got over the hump and got rid of the Spursy tag? Bear in mind, the top of the league, they're getting over the line in games. Games that they would have dropped points in before, by hook or by crook, from losing positions, from dumb luck, from having to play with 10 men. They're getting over. They've got over the line. They've played 8, won 6, drawn 2, lost none. So, I mean, he must be doing something right.
I think it's too early to say if he's got rid of the Spursy tag, because didn't Tottenham have a similar start last season under Conte where they were top of the league? Things were starting well.
I think Tottenham had to start probably three of the last 3
Tottenham
years.
Always seem to start well, and then injuries start to happen. I think Basuma's missing the next game. I don't know. I don't know. I think time will tell. I think it's going to be key in January to see if he's shaking off that tag, because they've got some fairly winnable games in the next 6, which you would expect them to still be either top or second come to the start of Christmas. Their squad is extremely paper thin. That's the only thing that I can see stopping Spurs this season, that they are literally a Son Maddison injury away from Richarlison being your main source of goals. They're a Mickey van der Ven Romero injury from slotting in. I don't know who their backup centre half is. It's not Eric Dyer because he's been frozen out. And then midfield. Pardon?
He's still there.
Yeah, still there. And then obviously there's the AFCON and Asian Cup, because in January, I think they're going to be missing Son, Basuma, Sarr. They'll be doing AFCON Asian Cup. So I think it's still too early to say. They've definitely had a good start. Yes, the Liverpool game is marred with controversy. Would they have got on the point? Would they have lost the game? I guess it's one of those ones that we'll never know really, but yeah, good start so far. Too early to say whether or not they've shaken off the Spursy tag yet.
Good point. Thor makes the point there, lads. 3 promoted sides, but how Spurs have played 4 of them.
It feels like that, doesn't it? I think, and this is not to do them down, but it did come out that generally they do opt to do these things where they talk about, strength of schedule and all that sort of jazz. I think Chelsea, Spurs, and City had the three on paper most straightforward. Spurs, I think Chelsea had the most straightforward. Then it was Spurs. Then it was City. I think Newcastle had the hardest. United were near the bottom as well for difficulty. I think we were sort of more towards the difficult end, but not the most difficult. So, but ultimately, you can beat what's in front of you. And to be fair to Spurs, they are. So, they're there on merit. So we'll have to see. But like I said, it's only 7 games. But like you were saying earlier, Kev, it's 7 games in, but it's starting to take a bit of shape for what you think. So just go to the rest of the results. Big win for the Ev. Battering Bournemouth 3-0. Bournemouth do look a bit in trouble, to be honest. And I think for Everton, that gives them, a little bit of a cushion, which I'll be honest, I kind of feel Luton are down and don't feel great on the over promoted side. So I think that's probably good for them. Chelsea finally get a win. Palace versus Forest. I don't know if anybody watched it. It never sounded an interesting game. It finished 0-0. I'm sure it was crap.
The Forest centre half was good. Murillo definitely showed off that Brazilian flair. Picked up the ball, just dribbled past a few players, and as most centre halves, they had a shocking finish to match the great run. That was around it. Really,
I'll be honest. If I'm a Bournemouth fan, new manager in the door, he's got an idea of how he wants to play football, and that's all well and good. That's fair, and that's what they know what they're signing when they get this guy. But played 8, no wins.
He's linked with a move away.
18 goals. Conceded 18 goals and scored 5. Bournemouth are in deep trouble. They're really, really bad. And he doesn't have the players in his squad to play the way he wants to play. And whether he goes or whether he's pushed, it can't continue for long, surely. They're going to have to act. And this is the time of the year, going into the second international break, where you tend to see movement in managers.
This is how we got.
If someone's going to get the bullet, they're going to get the chop this week.
Yeah, exactly. Up at the weekend, so it was Klopp's 8 years, because it was this time of year we got Klopp. So we might have a talk about that before we finish. So the rest
manager has been linked away with the Sevilla job, because Sevilla's just sacked the manager. I think I saw that he's on the shortlist. He's still, even though he's had a poor start to the season, he's still very highly thought of back into Spain.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's very progressive. He's very innovative. He's one of these managers, these young managers, who's trying to carve a name for himself in the way he wants to play, which is all well and good and laudable. But you have to be flexible and adaptable. And I look at the Vincent Kompany the same way. We're sat here now 8 games in with 1 win for Burnley, and as much as Burnley want to play a certain way, it's
we're not going to have a cat incident, are we?
No, my cat.
Nah, this one's quiet. But
wants to go.
Chris, what do you think of Burnley now? Because I've seen a few of their games, and they're easy on the eye, but I just think they don't have enough goals in the side.
They feel just like, I never thought I'd say that Burnley. They feel like a soft touch. Yeah, I never would have said that about Burnley, because Burnley used to always say, "Oh God, Burnley away," like Stoke away. Like, I can't. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to this. But Burnley now, I'm going, feels like a soft touch, Whereas I actually think Sheffield United away would at least could make it difficult, as we saw with City. I think because they're more physical, they're more direct. I kind of feel like Burnley do you remember when Bournemouth went down under Eddie Howe? Yeah, I feel a bit like that. We go like, oh, do you know what? They play really nice. They're really nice to play, but all the big sides go, yeah, but they'll still play next couple against us, and we'll just cut through. They feel a bit like that at the moment. Yeah, a bit.
They're going to have to sort it out, aren't they?
Very Daniel Clark came out with Norwich, just persisted to play his way.
Yeah.
Got turned over by every single big team. So, Norwich away, easy 3 points.
Yeah. And then going to the Sunday games, that's obviously Liverpool drew with Brighton. It was an entertaining game, to be fair. And I don't think...
Yeah, it was a good game.
It's a good game.
I'll be honest, I think from my point of view, a point of Brighton's fine. Would you have liked a better performance? Yeah. But do you know what? A point of Brighton's fine, and I do feel that was a game where you missed having a Gakpo or a Jota to come off the bench. Which
Curtis Jones as well.
Yeah, and to be fair, Curtis Jones. I think we missed him, though. I did think Gravenberch when he came on second half actually looked
he did
game.
well.
looked decent. A lot of the sides, the sides have looked decent or done okay for us. Newcastle again dropping points away to West Ham. I mean, West Ham's just becoming a difficult team to play in general anyway.
David Moyes done really well, hasn't he? They've done well in the market. He spent the Declan Rice money really well.
Smart business.
I've been a big fan of Mohamed Kudus for a while, and I think he's going to slot right in. Bowen, he's getting a tune out of again.
Sign a new
They look a hard, they look a hard side to beat, and they look like they're capable of getting goals. If they can keep the core of that squad healthy, they'll be vying for European spots again this season.
And they've got used. This is now the third season of 3 games a week. Because they put in Europa Conference last year. This is Europa League, so they're starting now as a squad and as a club to get used to 3 games a week, which is probably something Newcastle are still getting used to. And the concern for Newcastle probably is, I don't think the squad's deep enough.
He's picked up an injury.
He's picked up an injury. Callum Wilson often has injury problems. That's a force for Callum Wilson.
Loves his podcast career, though. Loves doing a podcast.
Yeah. Although he doesn't say it's as controversial as his other mates, because I'm backfired, isn't there? So I mean, Villa Wolves, Midlands derby, 1-1. Didn't see much of it apart from
a bit of controversy.
I saw Pau Torres scored, which was great because that got me some fancy league points, which was quite good. Other than that, didn't really notice. And then I didn't see the Arsenal City game because I was at the women's game, but I saw the goal and I saw the Kovacic non-red card, which according to Mr. Howard Webb, there's nuance and you don't want to spoil the game.
It will overreact.
It don't overreact. And then he says, or underreact, which I would class both Kovacic's tackles as underreactions.
Could have given 2 reds.
To me, those tackles looked worse than what Curtis Jones got sent off for, in my opinion. And
the Chelsea fullback. I'm sorry. That Kovacic first tackle was a dictionary definition of a red card tackle. It was force, it was studs up, foot up.
You can see
right on the Achilles.
Nowhere near the ball.
But also, you can also tell by Kovacic's face, he had the face. Do you remember Fabinho got away with the one on
Ferguson.
Where he had that look on his face going, oh no.
I'm in the shit here.
And then he went, play on, because you seen Fabinho did the double look of going like, oh, I've got away with that. Oh wow. The competition looked the same. He just looked like, I've got away with this. Twice.
I couldn't believe that this is supposed to be the Premier League's top referee, the main man, the top guy. And VAR bottled it. Oliver got it horrendously wrong. And then to do it twice in the space of 5 minutes.
He also has the best line of the whole show, which is he talks about the Luis Diaz reason why why they couldn't bring it back because the rules are in place there. But he does use a line a bit later. We want to make sure it's delivered consistently. And I think I just retweeted when that would be a novel. That would be a fucking novelty. You're not going to get every decision right, but Jesus, it literally feels like there's a new rule every week.
This was the weekend of controversies, considering the week that they had previously. They're probably thinking, lads, we just want an easy week, a good week, no controversies. Everyone remember the P's and Q's, double check, make sure we don't miss any goals. Yes.
Above all games as well. This is Arsenal against Manchester City.
Big game.
Last two's top 2.
Mm-hmm.
Last season's top 2. You expect both of those clubs to be in and around the top 4 fighting for a title again this season.
Mm-hmm.
4:30 game, live on Sky, watched all around the world. After the week they've just had, it's like it couldn't have gone any worse for referees than that game, especially seeing as it was their premier referee, their star boy. Look, I'm sick to the back teeth talking about referees and officials.
Well, I mean, we seen in our game the non-red card, which you and me both went.
Yeah.
He's probably got away with it because it looks like he's threw a slide tackle in, but he hasn't.
Yeah.
But when they showed the other angle, like at full time, you're going like, to be fair, you can't use that excuse because past full time he went, oh, Joe, it looks like he's made an attempt, so he'll get away with it. Fine.
I did the post match with Matt, and I played devil's advocate, and I said, look, they must have seen that slide as an attempt to play the goal with the goalkeeper really close, with the player coming around on the cover. When you actually read the law,
it doesn't
as
matter.
Michael, as your man on Sky Sports said to Paul Merson, the law is the law. There is
the laws.
There is no argument whatsoever that is a straight red card.
You know the world's going wrong when we're all going, Paul Merson's right, I mean. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
when you sat there going, I'm with Paul Merson here, which is a phrase I never thought I'd fucking say.
I need something stronger in my coffee, man.
Yeah, exactly. But it also showed, I think you messaged me, sorry, saying it showed the arrogance of the officials. By the way, he went back to Paul Merson.
The interaction went.
Yeah, he goes, well, you guys don't know the rules. So, that's why we can't have ex-pros and rules. I went, not be funny, guys. You can't implement the rules and you know them.
And you don't even know the rules. Like, I think Howard Webb said that they didn't know the rules or something.
You fundamentally, in the Tottenham game, disallowed a factual goal. Right. And your man even said, goal, because he thinks he's given a goal. That's how fucking wrong you got it. Do you know what I mean?
Okay. I just want to come back to Archie 1 sec. Archie, I just want to say this to you, right? All this changing about the show going forward is the name. The name, the branding, the pictures that you see on the screen, the graphics, all that kind of stuff is going to change. Where we are, you ain't going to have to go and find a new channel or find us somewhere else.
If
you're going to stay the same.
You'll be subscribed.
If you're subscribed today, you'll be subscribed on Sunday. Hit the bell icon. You'll know when we go live. And if you're downloading this, it's going to be in exactly the same spot. The social media accounts are going to be in exactly the same place, just a different name and a different brand. Promise. It's literally, at the end of the day, when this happens, it's like, it's exciting for us. Okay. I'm really looking forward to it. But it's a reminder really for us because, like, do you think about it? Moving to Stockley Park. Stockley Park can't afford my wages, Sam.
Oh, can you imagine us?
I don't get
any of the night.
Oh, mate, can I devolve like a United game or an FC game for shits and giggles?
Go
on
for the crack.
That'd be brilliant.
No different to the refs now, Chris.
Look, it ain't moving. We ain't doing anything different. It's just going to be new bells and whistles, but people around who are you seeing all the time with the people who are on the screen, and that'll probably change too with more people coming on and what have you. But that ain't changing. I mean, overall, Arsenal got the win over Man City. We get away from the referees and stuff. Talk about the football. Arsenal got the win over Man City. That's huge for them.
First win in a long time, isn't it?
Yeah, because we know what it was like when we beat Man City. It's a big deal. I don't care who you are or how you do it. 3 points against Man City is a big deal. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it is. And Arteta has he set a new record for the quickest to beat everybody in the league? If you know what I mean? Because that Man City was the only side he hadn't beaten as Arsenal manager. Now he has. So he's done that a lot quicker. So listen, he's got the results, But also I think it's good for the league as well, though. But City have dropped a few now because now it does give you the hope of, you know what? If you play it right, you play it smart, you can make it hard for City. And you know what? See how they react.
Rodri is a massive miss, though, isn't he?
Yeah.
How good is Rodri as a player?
Yeah,
honestly,
exactly.
Because when you saw him coming into the league, he was not the typical Spanish player. We're used to seeing players coming over from Spain who are like the Xabi Alonso's, the Silky Smooths, the Cesc Fabregas, these type of players who are playing in the middle of the park, David Silva putting their foot in the ball, and they're maestros on the ball. They just play and pass and move, what have you. Here's Rodri coming in, 6'2", big brute of a guy.
But remember, he didn't really set the world alight for the first 18 months.
No.
There'll be a lot of City fans who were like going, why is he starting? Start Fernandinho. Why are we starting this guy? And my thing with Rodri is always, yeah, but as soon as you go behind him, he doesn't turn around. He's got no idea of what's behind him. His awareness behind him was horrendous. But now he's adapted to the league. You're going, he's the best DM around. That's how good he is.
Curtis makes a great point there. They're really missing
Gundogan.
Yeah, they're really missing Gundogan.
Leadership.
He's also the man for the big goals, big games.
Yeah.
You saw when they won the league last year, the amount of big goals Gundogan got. That's what you need them for. And Kovacic isn't that guy. He's a good player. Don't get me wrong. He's not Gundogan though.
Mahrez as well as another one. Mahrez is one of those players who comes off the bench. He knows his game inside out. He knows what he can do and he knows what he can't do. And he knows how City play and he knows how people move. When you make this many changes, this is why I'm so impressed with us in our start to the season so far. We've literally rebuilt a midfield from scratch.
Nearly.
I would not play consistent back line yet either, have we?
No. But you look at the midfield that we generally start in games. And Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott are the two mainstays that were there from before. Everyone else is, okay, McAllister, Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, those three, you're looking at, if you were to describe them last season, I'm saying, right winger, number 10, and I don't know because he doesn't get on the pitch enough. And here we are trying to turn around and say, McAllister's a 6, Szoboszlai's your box-to-box 8, and Gravenberch looks like he's going to be the box-to-box 8 on the left-hand side. Go and play. And here we are sat there at 7 points better off than we were this time last season with optimism. I'm optimistic about what we can do this season. And you look at what Man City are doing, I think, I'm really happy with where we are, genuinely.
And to be fair, there's a few players, and we all can say this, squad options that have done better than we thought. Curtis Jones, which we always have the criticism of Curtis Jones, which is when he's fit, he's a really useful option off the bench or on the pitch. We just can't get him fit. And we've been able to keep him fit now for about 20 games, give or take a couple of games out. He's done pretty well for us.
Yeah.
Matip's done well. Matip at the moment is keeping Canati
Matip was good at the weekend as well. I thought he was good at the weekend.
At the moment, you're all going, well, Canati has to play in the Europa League. Why? Matip doesn't deserve to be dropped. And to be fair to Joe Gomez, he's played everywhere but left back in that back four at the moment. And look, he's been fine. I think Gomez has been fine. I think he has shaky moments. I think he's always going to have that. I think he's that type of defender now, unfortunately. I think because he's not inside consistently. Yeah. But they're all making an impact. Harvey Elliott is becoming a very good impact sub. I think he got a bit lost yesterday, but you know what?
Yeah.
No one's going to be perfect all the time. Darwin's settling into what we think it is. It's weird when we're sitting there going, probably the most disappointing one out of the front five is Gakpo, but he's still got 3 goals.
Yeah.
That's what you look at Gakpo going, he can play better, but actually he's got 2 equalisers in there. You're going, oh yeah, yes, actually, yeah. So, but he can play better, which is quite a nice place to be, really. So, there's a lot of reason to be optimism, I think.
Manchester City, I'll ask you. I'll ask you both. I think I said the other day that they're suffering from a hangover from last season. Combine that hangover with losing De Bruyne, losing Rodri for those few games. Does this show the Man City squad for what it is, or is it a case of they're still suffering from last season, or is it a mixture of the two?
I think it's a mixture of the two.
Luke,
I think it's a mixture of the two because when when De Bruyne got injured in the first game of the season, I sat there and thought, yeah, City will cope without De Bruyne because they've done it before. Like they've coped practically a whole season without him, and they still won the league. For me, it was if Rodri went out for suspension or injury, then just look at who's supposed to be the backup, which is Calvin Phillips, which I think it's been pretty clear that Pep does not rate him. I don't think he doesn't rate him. I just don't think that he's at the required level, especially when the fact that City are playing their biggest away game of the season so far, and you're starting Rico Lewis in a double pivot with Kovacic, where it should really be Calvin Phillips starting.
I'll be honest, I thought Rico Lewis played really well.
Yeah. Rico Lewis.
If he feels like another one off the conveyor belt a little bit, you went, oh, fucking hell.
Another right back midfielder.
Really annoying.
But I think it's ironic. The 3 domestic games City have lost, Rodri's been out injured, been out suspended, which I think is a massive. If you're looking at City's weakness, it's Rodri. No Rodri, the midfield doesn't really flow as well. I think you found that out against the Wolves game, the double pivot of Kovacic and Nunez. There was no natural ball winner, which I think is what City's really struggled with. And I thought the game as a whole, I think the squad, like City's squad depth, I do think it did get overrated when people were saying, "Oh, City, they can just put like 2 starting 11s together, and they can still win the. They can get top 4 with the second 11, and then they can win the league with the first 11." But football doesn't work like that. You can't have a squad of 23 full internationals swapping in and out because you call disharmony. City have got a really good 17, 18 core players, and then they mix in the rest with academy players like Rico Lewis, Oscar Bobbs coming through. Don't know if not there's any other academy players.
Well, the one thing I'd say, right, is I saw one stat at the weekend. Erling Haaland had 23 touches of the ball, 4 touches in the box. And either Saliba did an absolute mammoth job on him, which I don't think he did. I think he did a good job.
There's only one moment where he cut across him, I think.
Yeah, but I think he did a good job on him because the service up to him was so bad. It was so atrociously bad. Yeah. And Pep needs to figure out a way of getting the best out of him without players in midfield who can find him with razor sharp position.
They played really narrow. They played really narrow. No pace on the wing. Not having Grealish was a big minus. Was he on the bench, Jack Grealish? I didn't know if he was on the bench.
I don't either. I don't remember.
He wasn't great.
Yeah. The only thing I'd say, right, is if you look at City, and the talk has always been about City, yeah, they can go on a 14 or 15 game run, winning games. Not this version of Man City, they can't. This version of Man City will not go 14, 15 games in a row winning games. They're just not good enough. They don't have.
We've said this the last couple of seasons, so haven't we? When they have these sort
Roger will come back
starts.
in, and they've got Brighton at the Etihad.
That's a huge test, isn't it? When they come back
into gear.
But will they? Because I haven't seen any evidence of it so far this season. When you look at who they've played, they've had a really soft start. And the first time that they played against a side who had any kind of real pace about them in Wolves, they had an absolute nightmare. Wolves gave them all kinds of trouble. And it looked like on Saturday they were quite happy to go to Arsenal and give up possession and not have the ball and not press the way they normally press and try to play Arsenal on the break. But Arsenal were more than happy to cope with Haaland the way he was because they couldn't find Haaland. Haaland was so isolated. This is what I mean. This is not Man City of last year or the year before where they were a freight train. I don't think they are at the minute. Don't get me wrong. I think they're still a really, really top side. They are. They've got a lot of quality through that side. But I don't think that. And we saw it last season. After going for a quad, the next season, last season, a lot of it wasn't so much the ability that was in the side. It was the inability to move. It was the legs. It was the mental fatigue. It was, actual physical tiredness. This hangover for City. This game against Brighton coming up when they come back from the international break. This game against Brighton is huge.
So shall I run through some of the games after the international break? It's Brighton at home, United away, Bournemouth at home, Chelsea away, City, Liverpool at home. That brings you to the end of November. That obviously they've got Champions League game involved. Then they've got Tottenham at home 2nd of December. That's their run after the international break. And then they haven't really got any more difficult fixtures over the Christmas period. Their Christmas period is actually fairly okay. And then January, I think they've 13th of January, they've got Newcastle in the Premier League. So they've got, this is their make or break period. If this is the time when City are going to drop points, it's going to be now up to the run till Christmas, I think. Up until the Christmas period, we're going to really see who's going to be ready for this title race because there's only one way to beat City in this title race, and that's be 20 points ahead of them in January.
I
That is the
don't think-
only way to beat City.
Nah.
You
Well, at the
bury-
moment, that's the only way that's been proven.
yeah,
You
it's
know,
very Manchester City. You crush their will, just like Liverpool did in 1920. We went 9 points clear after beating them at home, and by then City just mentally checked out, and Liverpool just stormed away for the rest of the league. But
I also think, if we're being realistic, it's unrealistic to think a team's going to do what Liverpool did. Liverpool won 23 games out of 24, which is insanely consistent, and City have never done that, and City still win leagues. So my query, and we'll know as it goes on, is City's level probably has dropped from last year. Has it dropped enough for us to catch up? I remain to be seen, because
the jury's still out.
as much as pick holes in City, and the squad's has never been the deepest. It's been the most robust. That's always what helps them.
Yeah.
We can go through. We'll look at the traditional top six. We've talked about Spurs, Arsenal. I feel
Arsenal are looking good.
Recruited well. I'm not convinced, though, they're better than last year.
No, I'm not either. I think the only thing that they have going in their favour compared to this time last year is this time they know what it takes. They know that it's consistency in performances that are going to get you over the line. And you can't have a period where you drop points, silly points. Any side in the league can get beat on a day. Any side can go and lose 2 games on the bounce if the circumstances happen to evolve in a game. But Arsenal went through a stage last season, I think it was about 4 or 5 games, where they really struggled to put points on the board. And it killed them off. And plus, this time around, they have Champions League to contend with.
I think that's what's going to hurt. I think that's what's going to hurt.
Yeah, that's the big test for them,
And listen, they've got 16 goals so far after 8 games, which is a decent return. I am still not convinced they've got a consistent number 9. I think Jesus is a really good player, but I don't think he has massive goal numbers.
The links
Same
of Ivan Toney,
Kai Havertz experiment so far isn't working. And Nketiah, they're all good players. They all get numbers. I just don't know if they get enough. It's a lot of. Basically, it kind of feels like Saka and Martinelli are their main two. Listen, they're really good. Don't get me wrong. I just kind of feel that also is what hurt them last year. So
is not having that one player who can get you out of a bad spot.
Well, if they're still there or thereabouts.
But Saka may become that player. I mean, he got a lot of goals last year. This couple of season he kicks on again.
There's the Ivan Toney situation as well. I think I've seen reports that if Tony's going to be leaving in January, Arsenal look like the top destination for him.
We'll flip the table a sec on that. Brentford at the moment are sat on 15 points. And as hard a side as they can be to play, they've won once this season.
Yeah, they've wilted a bit, haven't they, recently?
They have the same number of wins as Luton and Burnley, but nobody's talking about them in the same respects as you talk about Luton or Burnley.
It's funny how a couple of good early, one win and a decent draw, and goes, they're all right.
Yeah.
They actually played well against Man United, but
their keeper had a stinker.
I watched that game, mate.
I thought they played all right, but I could never see them getting the second goal, and it was holding for dear life. So.
They didn't want. I mean, the thing is, I watched that game, right, and Manchester United were the only side interested in winning that game.
Yeah,
they threw the kitchen sink at it, and it needed late subs from McTominay to come on and get him over the line. But Brentford were holding on. That equaliser was coming. You could tell it was coming from 7th to 70th minute. It was just a case of who was going to get it.
He said that's the first time Man United have been losing going into injury time and won a game.
Yeah.
Which I was I felt like they did that quite often, but it was always going to injury time to win, just get the winner.
It's also written in the stars that they'd win it in Fergie time after the sad news of...
that was terrible news.
So it's almost written in the stars that a Scotsman would score in Fergie time to win it.
A guy who it looks like Ten Hag doesn't really fancy either, which is surprising. I think it's crazy. I always think Mitoni always does all right for United. You know.
Yeah, I think it's crazy. If I was West Ham now, looking at trying to sign someone in January to supplement your midfield, to add a bit of depth and a bit of quality, and provide a respite for Souček, and maybe someone who could take on from Souček, I'd be looking at McTominay all day long, every day of the week. If I'm Newcastle looking for midfield depth, I'm looking at McTominay in the January window, 100%. But as for Manchester United,
they need him because Casemiro hasn't had a good start to the season, and it's not good when you bring on Eriksen to do the running. That's not his game. You know, it's very reminiscent.
That wasn't his game when he was 24, 25. Exactly. For God's sake.
But it's very reminiscent of us, where you're going like, there's not enough legs in that middle.
You can't. It's like us bringing on James Milner, saying, "Yeah, go and run around a bit," or Adam Lallana, go and run the midfield.
To be fair, at least Milner cracks someone. Anything else.
But lads, we've got to talk
before he went.
We've got to talk about Manchester United. Onana. I mean, we talked about him the last time. The last time going into the international break. Yeah, the last time we going into the international break, we all questioned him. I think we all said, yeah, what is this? What's going on here? 4 games on, it's like, he's an absolute calamity. And this is the guy the manager asked for. This is the guy the manager wants. What does that say about the manager?
Well, this is the other thing is, they could all talk about the owners, you know, I think they have right reasons not to like their ownership. I understand it. But you do have to question what's been brought in, because a lot of what's been brought in is who the manager. He hasn't got everyone that he wanted. I get that, but guess what? Newsflash: no one gets everyone that he wants. Even Pep doesn't get every player that he wants. He probably gets more than most. But you are looking, going, somebody's just, you know. I get why they want to be progressive. He feels a bit like at the moment. I think. Listen, I can persist in 6 months. I'll beg on my face. Won't be the first time. Do you remember when Pep got rid of Joe Hart and brought in the Bravo from
Claudio Bravo,
and it was an absolute fucking disaster. And then they got the right way. You might find Onana, it's going to go to either second season's going to kick on, or we're just going to go, cut your losses. We're going to go somewhere else.
I think he's made of biscuits, man. Honestly, I look at Arsenal's keepers, right? Arsenal's 2 keepers, I think, are
similar.
Decent to good. You know, they're all right. They're good standard Premier League keepers. I think if you want to challenge to get into the top 4, no, then I don't think either of those 2 keepers are going to win you any major silverware. I look at Onana and I'm like, you were supposed to be good with the ball at your feet, but you're giving away goals from playing out from the back. You're not. He was never a good shot stopper anyway. His wrists are made of biscuits. So what are you good at?
Though I would say, we give him positive. I think the kid they brought in looks good.
Yeah, Højlund looks a player.
Because we all went, we haven't scored many goals, yo. It's a lot of money. But when you see him play, going, oh yeah, actually,
he does. He's kind of like Darwin in that respect to me. He does a lot of the runs, a lot of the physical stuff. And a lot of the runs in behind, the movements that he's making, is what you want from a number 9. He looks like he could be a proper player, but it's still a hefty fee for someone. I think they should have been looking to pay it around £40 million. But they still go back to the fact that Ten Hag brought in a fidget spinner, brought in Onana, brought in the Butcher, and brought in Malacia. And these are all players that he wanted, that he asked for. And the club gave them to him. And honest to God, if all of them were sold in the next summer, it wouldn't make a blind bit of difference. They're so shoddily run that I cannot see how on earth. As long as everyone plays to the standard, and Spurs, Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United, Liverpool, Man City, Newcastle, play to their potential and their standards. West Ham and Brighton, I'd throw into that as well.
Chelsea.
I don't see Manchester United finishing in the top 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Not with the way they're playing.
Now, that is a factor. Look, injuries after everyone, but they have got, I think, 9 or 10 players out now. The whole back four. I mean, the whole of their starting back 4 is out, and we're not talking short injuries. So I've just a quick look on Premier injuries. The Butcher's out till January. Pasaka's out till November. Shaw is back after the international break, as is the other lad. Let's see what's got. Reguilon, the backup of the backup, is due back soon. Sancho is just, not wanted at the moment. So
he's off in January. He'll be off.
Yeah.
He's been told he's not wanted. So
He's been
I don't think that I don't think that helps. It's not totally blameless, but it is a whole back four out, which doesn't make life easier when you literally have to rely on Johnny Evans.
Well,
Harry Maguire.
The one club, because we're going to run out of time in a minute. The one club that we haven't touched on is Chelsea and what Pochettino is doing there. Luke, how do you think he's going at the minute? Because they're sat in 11th. They had a good win at the week. I think they won at the weekend, didn't they?
4.
Yeah, beat Burnley.
Yeah.
4-1.
So where do you think they are at the minute? And one thing I'd say, the only thing I'd caveat about Chelsea is they don't concede many.
No.
I think they've got one of the tightest defenses in the league, which is ironic. They've
conceded 7
last season.
And they've also got 10 lads out injured at the moment.
Yeah,
I think
they've got 47 in the squad, so it's.
I know.
I think Chelsea will probably finish 5th. To be honest, I think once they get everything clicking, be very interesting to see how they get on after the international break. They've got Arsenal first game back, which I'll be fingers crossing Chelsea win, stop Arsenal getting points. I think at the start I was sort of watching Pochettino going, okay, how long are you going to take before you get sacked? Because you're walking the tightrope already and the season's barely started yet. But I think he's sort of fallen into Cucurella at right back, considering that he was pretty much ready to be frozen out.
He's near Newcastle, isn't he? He's nearly goes to Newcastle at one point.
He's supposed to go to United, but they played him in the cup, and then United were like, no, he's cup tied now. Oh, great. I think Chelsea scoring goals, the strikers, they've got Jackson or Brozier, so it's not them scoring goals is probably going to be the issue for them this season. Yeah, but defensively, they'll be strong. Lavia still needs to come back. And Nkunku.
Lavia needs to start.
Reece James.
I know, and Nkunku's not back until mid-December, which is, that was the main talent they wanted, and Nkunku's a brilliant player. So
I just got to sort my cat out.
Okay. We don't need another one of those.
Oh, that's still a highlight. So let's not talk about. We're not going to talk about any more VR because I can't be fucking honest.
No,
doesn't mean I do. We've got about 5-10 minutes left before we go. 8 years of Klopp. Should we have a chat about it? Because
one thing before we get to Klopp, Eden Hazard announced his retirement.
Yes, football. Yeah, he's
700 games. 700 games he's played. From the age of 16, he's 32 now, I think.
Yeah.
Or 34. He's a relatively young man. How do you assess his career? I mean, I think if you... Go on, sorry, you go.
I think it's be curious because on his day, listen, and we have to endure it beat Chelsea. On his day, he was ridiculously talented. For me, he didn't turn it on enough. And I think he was given a lot of benefit of the doubt. But listen, he's a brilliant player. Absolutely brilliant player. But I suppose in some ways, when you looked at that Chelsea side, when Hazard was on it in the season, it's generally the season Chelsea won it. But then he won a season when he went for a whole almost a year without scoring a goal, which is like bizarre. Yeah, but look, he's really good. It's sad that he's retired at 32 because he's gone to Madrid. Look, he's got his medals at Madrid. I don't think he's played as much as he wanted, but again, I think injuries caught up with him, and I think Mourinho said
he won 2 Premier League titles at Chelsea, won an FA Cup, won 2 European medals as well. I think Europa League medals.
Yep.
And I look at him and I think
you feel like a little bit more.
It should have been more. If he had a manager like Klopp to guide him, then I think he would have been up there as one of the all-time Premier League greats. He had the technical ability and talent to be the best winger the Premier League had ever seen.
Yeah. Here's his on the record then. So he's got one French title with Lille.
Yeah.
2 Premier Leagues, 1 FA Cup, 1 runners-up medal FA Cup. He's got 1 League Cup and 1 runners-up medal. He's won the Europa League twice. That was all with Chelsea. And then for Real Madrid, he has won the Liga twice, 1 Copa del Rey, and he's also won Champions League, Super Cup, and a World Cup, and the World Club Cup. So, and he came 3rd in the World Cup with Belgium. He probably summarises the Belgium golden
generation. Yeah,
is all brilliant, all had really good careers, but you always felt like
could have given more.
They could have been, you could have done more. I'll be honest. I think Theo Walcott falls into that bracket for me. Yeah. I actually think a very talented player, not even has that talent, but should have done. Feel like there should have been more.
But isn't that the case where you had 2 players at 16 years of age playing senior football from 16 right the way through? And by the time they hit 30, 31, they were finished.
Like Rooney.
Yeah, not all.
Although, Rooney got probably a bit longer. James Milner started at 16. The difference was James Milner had a rough patch, you would say, which is obviously got relegated with Leeds, went to Newcastle, it didn't really work. He didn't really play much, which is probably why he's still got the longevity he's got now. And touch wood to James Milner, never really got a serious injury. I always think that's the big thing. Hazard got a couple of bad hamstrings, and I think he got a really bad ankle injury, didn't he? I think
but anyway, I just thought it was worth giving a mention for sure.
I put Hazard in the in where I put Neymar. Quality player, just felt like that he's never really lived up to that full potential.
Yeah, that's fair.
So
that's fair.
Luke, before we go, while you were sorting your cat out, 8 years of Klopp, big fun in it. So sort of like, what's been your highlights? How have you sort of assessed the 8 years of Klopp and what you're looking forward to while he's still here?
8 years. I still remember when he got announced. I think, how old was I? I'm 25 now. Yeah, I think I've. Yeah, I still remember when he was announced. I was like, okay, things are gonna go well. It's gonna sound really harsh. I just felt like that we could have won more. Still could have won more. I feel a bit greedy by saying yes, what he's done so far. I just feel like that at his time here, we could have won probably another league, probably another couple of Premier Leagues, considering that we lost out on the point. Probably could have won one of the Champions League finals we lost to Madrid. So yeah, if I'm being picky, yes, brilliant. Could have won more. Still win plenty more before he decides to leave. So yeah, that's my assessment. Great. Absolutely great. Some of the best years of my life so far. But yeah, still more. If he can still deliver us more major silverware. So that's the way I'm looking at it.
I'll be honest, right? I remember being at work when we found out that we were strongly linked with him. And I was working with my brother-in-law, and he's a massive Liverpool fan as well. And I looked at it and I thought, there is no way Jurgen Klopp is coming out of his sabbatical year to come and manage us. Look at the state of Liverpool. And we were in a horrendous state.
But it was him or Ancelotti. That was pretty much it. It's him or Ancelotti. Because I remember at the time initially thinking, well, maybe it's Ancelotti. Because I think because Brendan Rodgers did me head in. I was like,
oh yeah, Brendan did my head in as well.
Do what another youngish manager, obviously before you do a bit of research and realise do you know what, he's more experienced than you think. Do we go down the experience route again with Ancelotti? I'll be honest, after I heard his first press conference, I was pretty much hooked there. That did it for me. The first press conference did it for me.
Yeah, it was the doubters to believers. It was I always loved watching his Dortmund side anyway. And I always liked the fact that he knew at Dortmund that Bayern Munich were going to come in and cherry pick him all the time. And that must have been the most frustrating thing. And he got 2 titles with Dortmund, in spite of Bayern Munich. So I thought, he plays brilliant football. He was the best young up and coming manager, the most progressive manager in Europe by a distance. And I thought, I was looking at, I mean, we all accept that Liverpool is one of the biggest clubs in the world, but we're rose-tinted glasses, we're biased to hell, but we are. And to be able to attract someone like him, given the state of the club that we were in, it was a massive coup for FSG. It was huge for the club. And the fact that we saw the turnaround and we could see the progression despite the results, we could see where we were going. That first season, despite the results, we could see what he was trying to achieve. And that brought everybody in. He turned Anfield into a place where everyone wants to go. Everyone wanted to go and see what this Liverpool were about. He evolved us into a side that the Premier League had never seen before, playing some of the best football you're ever likely to see in the Premier League. One of the most dangerous sides in Europe, consistently got us to European finals and deep into European competitions. And all the while, never losing the run of himself, never forgetting who he is and the type of person he is and the type of human he is, and the change that he's brought about through being the first one to open his mouth. The things like Premier League clubs used to play Wednesday night in the Champions League and Saturday morning. That doesn't happen anymore. He got the change from 3 to 5 subs. He now looks like he's forced to change with VAR to implement better processes so that mistakes like what happened with us against Spurs, their procedure is going to be put in place, hardwired into VAR going forward. All of this stuff for the improvement and the betterment of every club. And he gets ridiculed and derided for it, yet in a month's time or 2 months' time or 3 months' time, they're all saying, oh, yeah, he was right. How many times has he said something in the last 8 years, been ridiculed for it, 6 months down the line, oh, yeah, Jurgen was right.
Or another manager has said the exact same thing and doesn't get half the heat. Remember when
I absolutely love the bones of the man, and I really, really hope that he's seeing what's happening at the club. He's seen the players that have been put in front of him, and he says, yeah, give me another 2 years. Just give me another 2 years. Let me see this through. And that's all I'm hoping for now.
I think when we signed him, my only thing in my back of my head was, I think that's more because this where Liverpool were at the time, which is like, if it doesn't work with this fella, I have fucking no idea what we're going to do now.
Yeah.
He did feel a bit like last throw of the dice. I kind of felt
for the owners.
If it doesn't,
positive.
Owners and Liverpool in general, I was a bit like, doesn't work with Klopp. This is proper back to the drawing board, a lot of things. But the one thing he did, which was brave, which was, I think this is probably something Rodgers never quite got, which was Klopp was very comfortable in his own skin. Probably wasn't overawed, respected him at the club, but he wasn't overawed. Like, I'll do it my way. And I'll be fair, he called out Liverpool fans. And a mate of mine, I won't name him because I'm not going to name on shows, but we would have debates about this, but he would say, like, I don't like the fact he says, don't trust the Klopp side, or he has a go at fans for leaving early.
Well,
like,
right.
Or he has a go at fans for booing stuff. Then the Dortmund game where he goes, the corner was shit. I know it was shit. We all know it was shit. Stop groaning about it because it doesn't help. Which I thought, that's quite brave because you won't get results early on, but thinking that was kind of calling people out, going, you follow me, I'll give you back in spades.
Yeah.
But stop all this groaning, leaving early, and thinking you know best. Embrace what we are. And do you know what? And he did the whole backpack thing. History can't be a backpack that we carry around with us. It's gone. None of those lads were here when the last one was title. So why are you blaming him? Let's go for a new ride and embrace it. Does he always get it right? No, but
no one
it's
gets
his way. It's at the point now where everyone goes like, well, if you like it or not, he's going to do it that way. But yeah, great ride. 8 years. We've got at least 2 more years of it.
I have a sneaky feeling.
Just confirmed from Dan Austin. Yes, I mean 2 more years on top of his existing contract, 100%.
Yeah. I think in January, Mo Salah signs a rolling 1-year contract, and I think before the end of the season, we see Klopp sign an extension.
I think they'll both sign I think they'll both do a thing where they both sign together.
Do you ever think Mo's going to share the limelight of anyone? I love Mo Salah to pieces. Mo knows is worth. If Mo signed an extension, it is Mo's day. And that's
Yes.
not going to change. But listen,
Yeah, it's got. I mean, look, I think that this season, I still firmly believe that we're going to achieve something this season, and
We'll win the trophy
We'll
this
see.
season.
I'm just looking forward to watching us. And despite the Brighton result and the disappointment of only picking up a point from our last 2 games, there's still so many positives in how we're approaching games. And we know there's problems in the squad. We know that there's probably 1, maybe 2 additions needed. But I don't think this is the season that he was targeting a league. But the way the Premier League is going at the minute, it could open up for you.
the bad thing is the way
You don't know.
the way this season's gone. Generally, Joe, we were down to 9 and we got a corner at Spurs. I generally had this thought of going,
Be a
winning
scorer.
we're going to win this. And even Brighton, where it's 2-2, they made us sit down going, yeah, we're going to win this. I'm in that mindset now with Liverpool again where I go, I just think we'll win. Which
If we're in touch,
we lost that last year. Last year we were just like, I hope we turn up. Right, do you know what I mean?
We're in touching distance, and we get a DM, which I think is so crucial. I think
Which we are. I don't think we are.
which we need. We are killing
No,
we are killing
I think
him. Poor
I
little
think you could
little
end up
end.
with something in January where a deal is done to allow Thiago to go.
Possibly. I mean,
yes.
with his,
And then deregister Adrian from the Premier League squad
No,
so we can get a
not gonna happen. Not going to
Don't need
happen.
Yeah,
Don't
Thiago
need
to
to.
leave, get Andre in or someone like.
yeah. Bless him.
Yeah,
Anyway,
look, we'll see. But all that stuff is going to come in the new channel.
The new
Yes.
channel. We're all excited.
In the new channel.
So we're all looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can't wait.
So yeah.
Can't wait.
But listen, thanks for watching anyway. We've enjoyed this, haven't we? It's been good fun.
Yeah, it was good.
So,
It was good.
so
Thanks to
we'll
everyone in
probably-
the chat as well. You've all been fantastic.
So we'll probably quiet now for a couple of days, and then I'm sure there'll be a big launch of new channel name, new channel, and new show names, and all sorts. And the silly CR faces, I'm sure, will be around what we have. And Luke.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So then,
Sorry.
like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll speak to you all very, very soon. Speak to you later.
Good night.